right, what's up, first period? I guess every pre-calc watches this. Long time no see. All these weird short weeks, haven't been able to make a video for you guys in a while. But hey, your homework tonight is just watch this thing and drop a message in the submission box, or a comment in the submission box of a couple things you learn and one question you still have. We are rapid firing through the rest of our solving unit. Only a couple more lessons to go, and this lesson has an emphasis on radical equations. And these are going to amp up in difficulty pretty quickly. So watch closely, practice a few maybe ahead of time, pause the video and practice them if you want, but just know that tomorrow's class is devoted to practicing these. So I'm going to split this into two types of radicals. These are the two that you'll come across. Okay, the first section is if there's only one radical. Notice number one only has one radical, number two has one radical. And then the next section is if there's multiple. So if there's only one radical, your goal is to isolate the radical so that you can then square both sides. And then from there, it's just all algebra, and it's just a matter of you being careful, understanding, all your different algebra rules. So let's do a couple of these here. First one's a little easier than the second one. I'm trying to solve for x. There's a radical, so I need to get that radical by itself. So first thing I need to do is subtract 4 from both sides. I'll show all my steps here. So I've got 3 on the square root of 2x minus 1 equals 2. The radical isn't isolated yet. I need to divide both sides by 3. So I have the square root of 2x minus 1 equals 2/3. Now it is isolated. Okay, so now we're going to square both sides. We can put that in parentheses if we want. And we have squared cancels out a square root, inverse operations. So we have 2x minus 1 equals 4/9. And then what we're going to have to do with these, okay, I have it down here, good. What we're going to have to do with these is you don't need plus or minus, that's when you square root something, but when you square it, you don't need that. So now we're just solving for x, right? So 2x, we have to add 1 to both sides, which is like 9/9. So this would be 9/9 plus 4/9, 13/9. Divide both sides by 2, which is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. So the final answer is 13/18. And here's I guess it's kind of a pain, but when you're solving radical equations, we need to check our answers because they don't always work. Sometimes we can get what's called an extraneous solution. Remember, the two times we need to really check our work are when we have square roots and if we have x's in the denominator. So we need to really quickly off to the side, I'll do it in red, and I'll just write check. And we can do it quickly. 3 square root of, what's 2 times 13/18? That'd be 26/18. Okay, 26/18 minus 1. What is 26/18? That's 13/9. Okay, 13/9 minus 1, which is 9/9. So that's going to be 4/9. So it's going to work out nicely. I just kind of simplified that on the fly, right? Plus 4 equals 6. So let's see if this works. What is the square root of 4/9? That'd be 2/3, right? Both of those are perfect squares, thankfully. So 3 times 2/3 plus 4 equals 6. 3 times 2/3, 6/3, that's 2 plus 4 equals 6, and 6 equals 6. So this actually does work. I know I did that fast. I want you to try to check these without a calculator. It'll just make your mental math better. If you have to use a calculator to check that, fine. But hey, push yourself so that you can just improve as a math student in general. Okay, I had to do a little, remember all we did was we plugged 13 over 18 right back into the equation to see if it satisfied that equation, and it did. Okay, second one. Still one radical, but check us out. We got to do a little more. We have to isolate the radical. So move that 5 over. And here's what's different about this one is that there's an x here and an x here. We can't worry about that. We just have to know the algebra is going to be a little more advanced, but no worries. We still isolate, check. Now we square both sides. This cancels out to be 2x minus 2. X minus 5 to the second power is x minus 5 times x minus 5, which is x squared minus 10x plus 25. I want you to get better at foiling those quickly in your head. Now, what do you know? It's connected to just what we did last week. How do we solve something with, how do we solve quadratics? We can do either factoring, square root method, quadratic formula, or completing the square. I personally want to see if this is factorable first, so I'm going to subtract 2x and add 2. Like I'm going to set this equal to 0. I'll have x squared minus 2x minus. So I had to move my 2x over, and then I have to add my 2. Okay, factors of 27, 9, and 3. Yeah, perfect. The fact that this is factorable is a great sign. If it wasn't, I'd probably go straight to quadratic formula. But this is going to work out to be x minus 9 and x minus 3. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 minus 3, or 9 plus 3 is 12. It works out if they're both negative. So our two answers then are x equals 9 and x equals 3. I need to check those really quick. Let's do them both mentally here. Let me check the 3 first. 3. Now let's just do these in our head. Checking the 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 5 equals, and then the 3, no, 2 plus 5 does not equal 3, so that one did not work. Let's try the 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 18 minus 2 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. Yes, that does work. So in this one, we only had one solution. This one was extraneous. It did not work. So did you see how if you're doing a test right here, I'd give you almost full credit for this. But if you forget to check your solution, you'll lose a little bit of points. So beware. But long story short, the steps for this, and we're going to practice all these all day on Tuesday. If you only see one radical, isolate it, and then square both sides and solve. All right, let's crank it up. We're halfway through the video. What if there's more than one radical? Okay, if there's more than one radical, there's only one step. You just square both sides right away. But I'm going to give you a tip. Me personally, I like moving to where there's one radical on the left side of the equals and one radical on the right side. See how both radicals are on the left over here and both radicals are on the left over here? I personally like to separate them. I think it makes your life easier. If there are 3 radicals, then obviously you're stuck. But I like to personally write this as the square root of 3x plus 2 equals the square root of 7x minus 12, and then we're going to square root both of those. And I like writing this one as the square root of x. Well, here, let's move this to the other side. So that on the left side I have the square root of x plus 3, and on the right side I have 5 minus the square root of x. See, so now we're ready to square both sides, and I think it's going to work out nicer. So we square this, we square this. What do we get? Squared and the square root cancel out. 3x plus 2. Squared and the square root cancel out. 7x minus 12. I mean, come on. Works out nice and easy for us. I'm going to move the 3x over here. I'm going to move the 12 over here. Those cancel, those cancel. 2 and 12 makes 14. 7 minus 3 makes 4. And you get your answer. Okay. We go back and check it. I'll check it in a second. I'm running out of time in the video. But we would take 7 over 2, plug it in right there. and plug it in right there and make sure this cancels out to be 0. Got to plug it back in, right? So let's finish this one over here because it's a little tricky. So all I did was got the radicals on either side. So now it's time to square, time to square. Square root of x plus 3. The square root of x plus 3 squared is just x plus 3. And then here's where I want to slow down. I want you to try to do this in your head. 5 minus square root of x squared. Here, Paul, you should try to do it in your head right now. Remember, it's going to be 3 terms because it's a binomial being squared. See if you can do it, and then unpause the video. 25 minus 10 on the square root of x plus x. You might be like, say what? If you don't trust me, if you don't believe me, write it out like this and do first, outer, inner, last. And that's what you'll get. But you may be thinking, but hold up, Smith, there's still a square root. Yes, there is. So now it turns back to this style, though, because there's only one radical now. So what do we do when there's only one radical, like there is right here in this one? We isolate it. So I'm going to subtract x. I'm going to subtract 25, which means I have to subtract x, subtract 25. So x minus x, those cancel. 3 minus 25 is negative 22. Now we're here. Now we divide both sides by 10. See, now I'm just using my algebra rules, right? Boom. We could do decimal. Let's leave it as a fraction. So that would be 11 over 5 equals the square root of x. And whenever you get here, it's just automatic. Square both sides. 121 over 25 equals x. Booyah. Okay. So let's use a summary here, and then I'll be done. Save you a couple minutes of homework. 2 things you learned. Start crafting those. 1 question you still have. Start crafting those. But here's my 30-second summary. First off, when there's only one radical, you just isolate that bad boy and square both sides. When there's 2 radicals, or 3 or 4, whatever, you just basically square both sides. But I do recommend putting 1 radical on either side if possible, like we did on both of those. Okay, don't forget to check your solutions. And that's it, solving radical equations. See you tomorrow. Get ready to get after it. Enjoy your evening.